Imagine yourself soaring into the sky, where the world below gradually unfolds in breathtaking beauty like never before. From above, Africa is not just a vast continent. It's a vivid canvas of raw, majestic wilderness. Rugged mountains, crystal-clear lakes like gems, and sun-scorched lands stretching endlessly all form the backdrop for extraordinary human life. People here live in harmony with nature, bound to the earth, the sky, and the iconic wildlife admired across the globe. This is not just a journey to witness, but to truly feel every breath, every color, every untold story. Welcome to Africa from above, where all wonders begin. The Omo River is not only Ethiopia's longest inland waterway, but also the discovery site of the world's earliest Homo sapiens fossils, making it one of the few places directly linked to human origins. Free from major control structures, the river still follows its natural flood rhythm, feeding layered ecosystems of wetlands, riverbank grasslands, and semi-arid vegetation. Communities along Omo do not settle permanently. They shift with the seasons, farming fertile silt and maintaining rituals tied closely to the movement of water. The river flows through varied terrains, forming a lifeline for native fish, water birds, and hoofed mammals that depend entirely on its seasonal cycle. Across millennia, Omo has served as both a biological corridor and a continuous cultural thread that has never broken. It is where the memory of evolution and the present flow of life converge in one unchanging rhythm. Rather than being clearly zoned, Abijata Shala is a rare transitional landscape where saline water, mineral deposits, geothermal activity, and biodiversity exist side by side on the same surface. Lake Shala plunges over 800 feet deep, while Lake Abijata spreads wide with seasonal variation, producing sharp contrasts in depth, color, and temperature between two adjacent lakes. Along their shores, hot springs erupt, salt crystallizes naturally, and geothermal flats reveals signs of ongoing tectonic movement beneath the surface. This space does not exclude humans. Instead, local communities live along the lake edges, practicing small-scale farming and performing rituals tied to the rhythms of water and mineral cycles. During peak seasons, tens of thousands of flamingos gather on Lake Abijata, making it a major breeding and wintering site for water birds. All these elements do not exist in isolation, but merge into a living terrain that reflects the geologic and cultural patterns of the Rift Valley. Fassel Gebi is an architectural complex enclosed by a wall about 39 feet high, covering an area of nearly 0.2 square miles on elevated, flat, rocky terrain. Inside the area are stone buildings ranging from 26 to 39 feet in height, arranged unevenly in both placement and scale, resulting in an asymmetric layout. Each structure has walls up to 5 feet thick, made from basalt and held together using bonding techniques of unknown origin, as there are no traces of mortar or binding agents. An 18th century account reported that at one time, the buildings within this complex glowed at night for several consecutive days without any scientific explanation recorded. There is no sign of modern reinforcement or renovation, yet the structures remain intact over time. Harar is located in the eastern highlands of Ethiopia at about 685 feet above sea level, and is a walled city that was once the most significant Islamic trade and religious center in the Horn of Africa. The old city covers about 119 acres, with over 80 narrow alleys forming a maze, and more than 80 mosques dating from the 10th to the 19th century. The residential buildings are typically one-story homes with enclosed courtyards, reflecting communal living and privacy. In the late 19th century, British explorer Richard Burton secretly entered Hara, which was closed to outsiders, and documented its social and religious structure in detail. What makes Hara distinct is its blend of medieval Islamic urban design, cultural isolation, and enduring local traditions within a historic, enclosed space. Sof Omar is the largest limestone cave system in Ethiopia, located at an elevation of about 4,400 feet, with over 9 miles of surveyed tunnels containing hundreds of underground passages and chambers. The interior terrain is complex, featuring natural stone pillars up to 49 feet tall, arched ceilings, and uneven rocky floors, forming a multi-level spatial network. An underground river, nearly 1.2 miles long, runs through the central zone, dividing the cave into separate sections. A local record from the late 19th century described an incident where unusually large footprints were seen in the cave's muddy floor, but they vanished after a few days. The cave interior has no natural lighting and requires artificial illumination to observe its full structure. Many underground chambers do not connect in a clear order and remain incompletely mapped, preventing a full spatial diagram. Hawassa stands out as the only city in Ethiopia's highlands that formed and developed next to a large freshwater lake, where the water landscape is closely tied to urban structure and local livelihoods. Built on rare, flat terrain, the city expanded toward the lake, forming an urban model highly adaptable to environmental change and daily needs. Lakeside zones host craft production, fishing, trade, and seasonal rituals, showing a direct link between natural resources and cultural life. Public spaces here are not fixed, but shift with time of day and weather cycles, reflecting the open nature of social organization. Hawassa is also a regional center for the Sidama people, preserving agricultural customs, earthen house design, and ongoing communal rituals. The city's identity is shaped not just by geography, but by how people structure daily life around the lake as an inseparable element. Ertatale sits at the heart of the Afar Triangle, where the Earth's crust splits apart slowly, shaping a cracked and dry landscape unique to East Africa. Its lava lake, active for hundreds of years, remains the glowing core of one of the hottest and harshest regions on the continent. The Afar people see the volcano not as danger, but as the pulse of their ancestral land, where they build huts from ash and live through heat above 122 degrees. Salt caravans still cross the Danakil Plains along ancient routes, hand-cutting blocks of salt and stacking them with skills unchanged for centuries. Even under toxic air and extreme drought, Afar communities survive without cities, outside aid, or modern infrastructure. The landscape of Afar is not just fire and stone, it is living proof of a culture that resists assimilation and endures through elemental power. Nowhere else on Earth is like Danakil, a land where the surface still splits apart. The air is acidic, the ground changes color, and people survive in what science calls unfit for life. Here, the Afar people still use tribal knowledge to cut salt with wooden axes, shape it into square slabs, and load it onto camels across sulfur-steaming plains, a labor cycle unchanged since prehistoric times. Danakil is also unique for its oxygen-free lakes, where extremophile bacteria thrive and leave behind mineral colors never recorded in any other ecosystem. The ground can change color 3 times a day, from copper red to sulfur yellow to glowing green, depending on slight shifts in heat and moisture. Locals do not follow international calendars. They measure time by the rhythm of moon and salt, seeing minerals as direct expressions of the land's soul. Danakil is not just a geological relic, it is the only living space on Earth where culture has survived in natural conditions science is still trying to decode. Simien Mountains, the highest range in Ethiopia, sits in the Amhara region and is known as the Roof of East Africa for its jagged peaks, plunging gorges, and highlands shattered by millions of years of tectonic upheaval. This is a landscape that challenges not only human endurance, but also every past attempt to invade or control it. With altitudes exceeding 13,000 feet and cliffs so steep they offer no safe passage, Simien once served as a natural fortress where intrusions were blocked long before arrival. No army could mobilize effectively across this terrain, fractured by deep valleys and razor-sharp escarpments. These isolated stretches of land also shelter a unique ecosystem, where rare wildlife survives without need for fences. Every ancient fault line and carved gorge stands as proof that this place is more than just a mountain range. It is a geographic pillar guarding national integrity. Lake Langano does not present the calm blue appearance of a typical lake, but shows a distinct reddish-brown surface that feels raw and unfamiliar from the very first view. The entire lake sits within a closed tectonic basin where no rivers flow in or out, allowing the water to remain pure and unblended for centuries. Lake Hawassa has a geological structure unlike other lakes in the Rift Valley chain, with a sharply deepened floor and no visible outlet, forming a stable water body surrounded by tectonic activity. The water is clear and dark green, showing little seasonal change and free from sediment, revealing a sharply uneven depth profile beneath the surface. Hawassa has no major inflows, yet the water level rarely fluctuates, leading to theories of an unknown underground water source. Beneath the lake lies compressed sediment, and deep fractures have been recorded releasing gas, potentially causing localized biological changes. The area supports a resident population of wetland birds that do not migrate seasonally, unlike species in neighboring lakes. Lake Hawassa is not only isolated in flow, but also maintains biological and hydrological processes that operate independently from any nearby water systems. Blue Nile Falls impresses with a wide 130-foot drop where water flows in a single sheet, forming a continuous wall and generating a dense mist known as water smoke that covers the entire base. This mist creates a humid microclimate that sharply contrasts with the dry surroundings. At the bottom lie deep natural hollows and fan-shaped rock fractures that trap water and cause strong seasonal shifts in flow. Several ancient monasteries nearby show the site's long-standing spiritual role in the region. Blue Nile Falls is a rare blend of landscape, geology, hydrology, and native belief, making it both remote and deeply symbolic. Awash River is the only inland river in Ethiopia that flows year-round and ends in closed lakes within the Afar region without reaching the sea. It crosses fractured basalt terrain, forming deep gorges, hot springs, and rocky sections along its course. Many nearby communities still use ancient irrigation systems that draw directly from its flow. The river's valley has yielded fossils like Australopithecus, showing its importance in human evolution. Its surrounding landscape shifts from dry forest to semi-arid grassland, yet the water remains stable due to underground sources. Historically, native kingdoms formed along its banks, making the river a natural corridor linking otherwise isolated regions. Awash is not just a river, but a biological and cultural foundation capable of sustaining itself without reliance on the sea. Awash National Park is the only place in Ethiopia where rivers and volcanic terrain coexist within a fractured and arid landscape, forming a self-contained ecosystem that follows its own rules. Located between the central highlands and the Afar Depression, the park stretches across basalt slopes, ancient volcanic craters, semi-arid grasslands, and deep fissures that emit gas during the dry season. The Awash River cuts through the region, creating a narrow moisture zone that supports endemic wildlife such as Besa oryx, plain zebra, and more than 400 bird species that remain year-round. In some riverbank areas, rapid evaporation leaves behind mineral layers that reflect sunlight, like dry salt fields. There are no permanent settlements or large-scale exploitation within the park, allowing biological and geological processes to unfold in near-original conditions. Awash stands as clear evidence of a closed natural system where life maintains its own balance even under the harshest environmental pressures. Ras Dashen is the highest mountain in Ethiopia, one of the few places where climate, terrain, and biology shift visibly with elevation under harsh natural conditions. From the base to the summit above 114,700 feet, the landscape transitions from sparse forest to cold grasslands to alpine rock, each layer supporting distinct plant and animal life. Certain species such as Menelik's bushbuck and high-altitude raptors are found only in the upper zones, showing clear biological isolation. Ras Dashen is not only Ethiopia's highest point, but a living display of natural biological layering. Omo is the only place on Earth where modern humans, ancient ancestors, and wild nature coexist in a space never divided. The sunken plains are covered with wild grass and native shrubs, dotted with seasonal lakes that mirror the sky like ground-level glass. Across these open lands, over 20 tribal groups live by the floods of the Omo River, farming and hunting without calendars or machines, guided only by rising waters and bird paths. Coming-of-age rituals and clothing made from red earth and animal bones are preserved as part of everyday life. This is where the oldest known Homo sapiens skull was discovered, proving that human origins began in Ethiopia. Omo is not just a national park. It is a living land where culture, nature, and human history remain completely connected. The white strip of land between two large lakes in Nechisar feels like a natural boundary where fresh water, wildlife, and dry terrain coexist in contrast. With no dividing structures, the entire ecosystem responds to shifting water levels, animal migrations, and lake-driven climate patterns. Nile crocodiles gather near Lake Chamo, while herds of antelope and zebra move across grass corridors stretching eastward. Scattered low forests and open plains create natural shelters for over 300 bird species, many found only in transition zones between dry land and wetlands. This flexibility supports a rare dynamic balance where life follows natural conditions rather than artificial control. Nechisar does not follow the pattern of a typical park. It functions as an unrestricted biological system in motion. Dalol stands out as the place with the highest average temperatures on Earth and a surface covered in vivid mineral layers formed by acid and salt eruptions from fractured ground. There is no stable fresh water, almost no animal life. Yet heat-tolerant microorganisms exist and are studied for their extreme survival traits. Its landscape changes constantly. Salt formations take honeycomb, cone, or uneven flat shapes that deform within weeks. Surface colors range from bright yellow to turquoise green, creating a surreal environment found nowhere else on the planet. No permanent settlements exist here. Locals appear only seasonally to collect salt and sulfur. Dalol is not merely a geological site. It is the only place where the Earth's surface reveals active chaos in plain view. Surrounded by steep cliffs and still active hot springs, Lake Shala appears as a sealed basin with no clear signs of human modification. It is the deepest lake in Ethiopia, over 820 feet deep, with stable bottom conditions and little to no surface outflow. There are no large fish species, but its shallow shorelines and sediment flats attract flamingos, storks, and other seasonal water birds. Along the lake's edge, hot mineral water rises and leaves behind distinctive salt layers and thick mud deposits. The lake's surface remains dark blue and gently rippled, barely changing throughout the day, indicating biological isolation. Despite the dry and sparse landscape, Lake Shala maintains internal balance through constant evaporation and mineral input from underground sources. Awash Falls is not known for its height, but for its unique position where the Awash River drops over black rock in the dry Afar region, dividing ancient volcanic terrain from semi-desert plains. This is the river's final descent before disappearing into an inland basin without ever reaching the sea, marking the transition between permanent flow and closed drainage, a defining trait of the Afar landscape. Vegetation near the falls consists of drought-resistant shrubs with deep roots clinging to fractured stone, while baboons, small antelope, and crocodiles persist around hidden pools. Water does not fall consistently year-round. Seasonal changes create distinct wet and dry phases that directly shape nearby life forms. A washfalls marks more than the break in a river. It reflects the transient nature of life on Ethiopia's frontier. Hidden on the eastern slope of the Bale Mountains, Harena is Ethiopia's only forest where moisture does not come from rivers but from the air, forming an isolated high mountain rainforest within a semi-arid region. Giant trees covered in moss and thick vines grow from deep organic soil without surface water, yet stay moist all year. The forest changes with elevation, from frost-resistant conifers at the top to thick evergreen canopies below that shelter endemic species like the Bale monkey and giant forest hog. Harena is not just a refuge for rare species. It is the last remaining tropical montane rainforest in the Horn of Africa. Lake Turkana lies in the arid northern depression of Ethiopia, where desert terrain, basalt rock, and a salt lake exist without any outlet to the sea. The water is blue-gray due to its high mineral content and fluctuating temperatures, allowing only highly adapted species like native tilapia, Nile crocodiles, and migratory birds to survive. Volcanic sediment and fossil-rich layers line the lake's shores, especially in the southern basin, where Homo remains have been found in well-preserved geological contexts. The Dasanach and other nomadic groups live around the lake, practicing seasonal fishing, semi-mobile herding, and rituals tied to changing water levels. No rivers flow out of the lake. Its entire water volume is lost through evaporation, forming a closed cycle vulnerable to climate variation. Lake Turkana holds geological strata, human evolutionary evidence, and patterns of cultural adaptation along the margins of East Africa. Mago is the only place where the Mursi people live, continuing their lip plate tradition and indigenous way of life within an ecosystem untouched by modernization. Across low grasslands and seasonal wetlands, they hunt with wooden bows, farm with floodwaters, and track time by the movement of birds. When the rains arrive, dry plains turn into green fields, wetlands expand, and hundreds of migratory birds return, including flamingos, storks, and cranes. Each morning, mist hangs over the grass, and the sound of wildlife spreads through a landscape free from engines or urban marks. The environment operates entirely by natural rhythm, with no fences, no boundaries, no artificial control. Mago is not just a refuge for biodiversity, it is a continuous living space where humans and nature have never been separated. Arba Minch is the only place in Ethiopia where two side-by-side lakes hold entirely separate ecosystems, creating a landscape of contrast and balance within one shared space. On early mornings, thin mist rises over the water, revealing the narrow strip of land between the lakes, a traditional farming area shaped by rare humidity and rich silt. One lake is clear and calm, surrounded by forest, while the other is alkaline and expansive, attracting crocodiles and seasonal water birds. Along the shoreline, small wooden boats glide silently, marking human presence within a rhythm set by nature itself. The surrounding ecosystem shifts between dry forest, low hills, and wetlands, where hundreds of birds and native animals live without artificial boundaries. Lake Shala stands out with its deep blue water and crater basin formation, created within the collapsed remains of an ancient volcano. Steep cliffs and weathered volcanic rims encircle the lake, giving the entire area a sense of isolation from the outside world. Each early morning, thin mist rises from underground geothermal vents, floating over still water like sacred smoke in silent space. The lake's highly alkaline water supports no fish, yet tens of thousands of flamingos gather here seasonally, feeding on resilient microorganisms. Their soft pink silhouettes drifting across the dark surface create a quiet yet striking visual contrast. With no tourism services and no surrounding villages, Lake Shala remains in its original, untouched state, as if never fully discovered. Aksum is the cradle of one of Africa's most powerful ancient empires, where massive obelisks still rise as living witnesses to a civilization never forgotten. Carved from single blocks of stone and shaped like multi-level buildings, these monuments symbolize power and showcase timeless architectural mastery of the Aksumites. Beneath the surrounding earth lie royal tombs, burial places of kings who ruled during the golden age of trade across Africa, Arabia, and the Indian Ocean. Local tradition holds that the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred object mentioned in the Bible, is hidden and guarded inside a chapel forbidden to outsiders. Religious rituals are still practiced here by the Ethiopian Orthodox community, with ceremonial chants and prayers echoing across ancient stone grounds. Aksum is not just a relic of a lost kingdom, but a place where history, belief, and national identity continue to live in every detail. The Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion is the only place in Ethiopia believed to house the Ark of the Covenant, a sacred object mentioned in the Bible and deeply tied to the religious identity of the nation. It stands on the rocky highlands of Tigray, where harsh climate, cracked earth, and ancient olive trees shape a solemn and spiritual landscape. The original church was built in the 4th century under King Ezana, the first ruler to make Christianity a state religion in sub-Saharan Africa, turning this site into a religious and political center of the Aksumite Empire. Within the grounds is a small chapel, guarded for life by a single monk, the only person allowed near the ark, who lives in complete isolation from the outside world. Each pilgrimage season, thousands of worshippers dressed in white walk barefoot across the burning stone to return to the source of their faith, turning this sacred site into a living stream of history, belief, and Ethiopian identity. Lalibela is located in the northern highlands of Ethiopia and is known for its complex of monolithic churches carved directly into solid basalt bedrock. These structures were not built, but extracted from single stone masses, with an average depth of about 39 feet and an underground system of trenches and passageways. The area sits at an altitude of over 830 feet above sea level and provides an open view of dry plateaus and dissected terrain. It once served as a religious capital of a Christian kingdom during the 12th and 13th centuries, and some records claim several structures were finished in an unusually short time. Scholars and visitors often question how such symmetry and precision in stone carving were achieved using only medieval tools. What makes Lalibela different is that the entire religious complex lies underground and still functions actively as a religious site today.
O que torna Gondar distinto é seu agrupamento de palácios adjacentes, cada um ligado a um reinado específico, mas todos inseridos em um único sítio unificado. Cada edifício é feito de basalto duro e possui cerca de 3 a 4 andares de altura, cercado por muros fortificados e torres de vigia. Gondar está localizada nas terras altas do noroeste da Etiópia, a cerca de 200 metros acima do nível do mar, e serviu como capital do Império Etíope durante os séculos 17 e 18. O local é conhecido por seu complexo de castelos de pedra, que combina a arquitetura local aksumita com elementos de design português, indiano e árabe. Ao contrário de outros centros de poder, Gondar manteve um layout de palácio em grande escala, onde cada rei construiu seu próprio castelo em vez de compartilhar um único complexo real.
Debre Libanos is located on a limestone plateau in northern Oromia at about 70 feet above sea level and is considered one of the most important religious centers of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. The main complex sits along the edge of a deep canyon where steep cliffs form natural walls around the monastery. From this site, one can view a dramatic landscape of rugged terrain with exposed rock and patches of native vegetation growing between crevices. In 1937, Debre Libanos was the site of a major massacre by Italian forces, killing hundreds of monks and civilians, marking a widely remembered national event. What makes this place distinct is the combination of harsh topography, long-standing spiritual significance, and a historical event with national impact. Yeha is an archaeological site located on a high rocky hill at about 6,900 feet above sea level, featuring wide stone platforms and natural terraces. The site contains a limestone structure dated to over 2,500 years old, with walls around 36 feet tall and nearly 3 feet thick, built from large stone blocks without mortar. The entire structure stands isolated within an area of approximately 0.07 square miles, with no evidence of access routes or ancient construction support systems. A record discovered in the early 20th century described an event where strange markings appeared on the eastern wall one morning and vanished without a trace. The construction materials do not have clearly identified local origins, prompting theories that the structure was built using unknown techniques from an ancient civilization. Debre Birhan Selassie is located in the highland region of Amhara at about 7,218 feet above sea level and is an Ethiopian Orthodox church built in the late 17th century by order of Emperor Iyasu I. The structure is rectangular, about 72 feet long and 36 feet wide, with a traditional wooden roof and thick stone walls, enclosed by protective outer walls. The murals were painted using natural local pigments and show a rare blend of native artistic style and Coptic Christian influence. What makes this place distinct is its preserved wall paintings inside a religious structure that uniquely combines wood and stone architecture in Ethiopia's highlands. Konso Cultural Landscape is located in the southern highlands of Ethiopia at about 413 feet above sea level and has been continuously inhabited by the Konso people for over 400 years, known for its dry stone terraced fields and walled villages. The terracing system is built in layers, using stones to prevent soil erosion, allowing cultivation on steep slopes in semi-arid conditions. Traditional villages are organized as enclosed spatial units with stone walls, limited entry points, and central areas where wooden ancestor statues called waga are placed. These waga statues depict the deceased along with social symbols like weapons or power emblems, revealing their community roles. In the early 21st century, part of the waga collection was stolen and trafficked abroad, prompting local authorities to begin restoration and digital documentation. Konso is a rare example of combined long-term agricultural land control and a visible memorial system directly tied to community structure. Vukrokirkos is a rock-hewn church carved directly into a sandstone cliff at an elevation of about 6,600 feet in a sloped area with exposed sedimentary rock layers. The structure is fully detached from the parent rock, with an interior main hall about 26 feet long, a ceiling height of roughly 13 feet, and two integral stone columns without joints. The inner walls are smoothed but uncoated, indicating direct chiseling using hard tools. A record from the 1930s noted that the main entrance mysteriously closed at the same time each day for several days, even though no mechanical system was installed. The surrounding area consists of bare rock with no constructed foundation or artificial pathways, making access difficult. There is no lighting or reinforcement system, and the structure has remained in its original form since discovery. Yemrahana Christos is an ancient church built inside a cave at an elevation of about 8,700 feet, constructed behind a vertical limestone face and isolated by surrounding forest and steep terrain. The structure is made from dry stone and wood, with walls about 2.5 feet thick, containing 3 main chambers and a roof formed by stacked wooden layers without binding agents. The entire church extends approximately 66 feet into the cave and leans against the rear rock wall, lacking modern foundations or reinforcements. A survey record from the early 20th century reported the discovery of hundreds of neatly arranged human remains behind the church, with no clear reason for their accumulation and no signs of formal burial. The cave floor is uneven and highly humid, which aids natural preservation but makes movement within the space difficult. There is no drainage or ventilation system in place, and the entire structure remains in its original completed form. Addis Ababa is known as one of the few African capitals that maintain mild weather year-round and clearly combine highland landscapes with layered cultural life. The city sits at about 7,700 feet, covering basalt hills, seasonal dry gullies, and cracked clay that create natural divisions between urban zones. Its structure follows the terrain slope rather than a grid, with administrative, residential, and commercial areas arranged based on natural conditions. The landscape also includes low vegetation, scattered shrubs, and small water channels passing through neighborhoods, showing the direct link between people and land. Traditional spaces such as local markets, historic churches, and community rituals still remain active within a city that also hosts research institutes, universities, and national data centers. The coexistence of natural features and social systems gives Addis Ababa a distinct identity, where urban development continues without separating from the geographic foundation. The African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa reflects not only political symbolism, but also the distinct characteristics of the East African highlands through its architecture and setting. Located at about 7,700 feet on a broad basalt plateau, the site's sloped terrain provides open surroundings that support visibility and security. The main tower, rising 325 feet, is cylindrical in shape and was designed to represent the convergence of African nations, while also using the region's wind and light conditions to optimize energy use. Its function extends beyond administration, serving as a strategic landmark for regional development policy within the highland geopolitical space of East Africa. Mercato is not just a market, but a space that fully reflects the highland character of Ethiopia, where elevated basalt terrain, dry conditions, and red dust shape how trade is organized and sustained. Located at around 7,700 feet, the market evolved over time from internal trade routes without formal planning, following the logic of local settlement patterns. Compressed earth paths wind through thousands of stalls built with local materials without walls or signs, forming a layout that adapts to the sloped land and cool, dry climate. Each section corresponds to an ethnic group or trade specialty, from Sidama coffee merchants to Oromo spice and craft vendors, showing inter-regional exchange in action. Mercato stands as a spontaneous economic and social model unique to the East African highlands, where commerce functions alongside cultural preservation. Mekelle serves as the central city of Ethiopia's northern highlands, where dry limestone slopes and narrow valleys form a complex terrain that shapes the urban space naturally. The city developed along elevation lines with architecture adapted to the terrain and tiered roads connecting residential clusters. Mekelle is also known for stonework, leather tanning, and food processing in the Tigray region, showing a close tie between production and local geology. Traditional houses made from split stone are a distinct feature designed to retain heat and suit the cold, dry, seasonal climate. Public spaces such as markets, grain areas, and religious festival sites often use existing hillsides and flat grounds without altering the landscape. By structuring living and production spaces around natural landforms and materials, Mekelle has preserved strong local identity during urban growth. Bahir Dar is one of the few cities in Ethiopia that lies beside the country's largest freshwater lake, and also served as the testing ground for the nation's first modern urban model. Planned in the mid-20th century with European technical support, the city was built on flat terrain near Lake Tana, with open street layouts, administrative areas, and residential zones adapted to seasonal flooding. Its distinct feature is the integration of water space and lakeside green ecosystems, where traditional boat docks, fish markets, and native vegetation form natural boundaries for urban zones. Beyond its administrative function, Bahir Dar is a cultural and religious hub in the northwest, marked by island monasteries and ritual activities tied to the lake. The blending of geographic setting, modern planning, and local traditions has made Bahir Dar a clearly defined urban identity within Ethiopia's inland development. As the birthplace of native Arabica coffee, Jimma is not just an agricultural zone, but the only Ethiopian city developed directly along the coffee value chain from forest to trade. The city expanded along old merchant routes, linking the western highlands to lowlands with housing clusters, markets, and processing areas emerging from coffee exchange needs. Its urban space is surrounded by native forest strips and interwoven coffee farms, forming a semi-ecological, semi-urban structure found nowhere else. Jimma also preserves traditional rituals tied to forest cultivation and community systems rooted in the historical kingdom of Kaffa. The strong link between natural landscape, agricultural economy, and cultural life defines Jimma as a unique ecological and commercial center in Ethiopia. Adama is Ethiopia's largest inland logistics center, serving as a key node in the national transport network and rising from a landscape that bridges the highlands and semi-arid Rift Valley. The city stretches along a major transit axis connecting the capital to the east, where highways, railways, and transport hubs converge into a clearly zoned urban layout. Its surrounding landscape features gentle low hills, dry grasslands with basalt rock, and seasonal shallow lakes that form natural boundaries for industrial and residential areas. Commercial activity is concentrated in large-scale agricultural markets, where goods from various regions are gathered, sorted, and distributed across the country. Logistics operations run continuously along the highway, with storage centers, service stations, and distribution hubs managing the movement of supplies. With its distinct geography and function-oriented design, Adama stands as the most clearly defined, logistics-driven urban center in Ethiopia's central corridor. Tasilin Aijer is a sandstone mountain range located in southeastern Algeria, standing out in the vast Sahara Desert. It is one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites due to its unique combination of natural and cultural value. This place is globally famous for thousands of ancient rock paintings and carvings dating back from 6,000 to over 12,000 years. Not only is it an outdoor museum, but this land also boasts extremely surreal landscapes, eroded sandstone blocks shaped into bizarre formations such as petrified forests, columns, arches, and narrow gorges. What makes Tasilin Aijer extraordinary is the feeling of stepping into another planet. Strange shapes, strong red-orange hues, the harsh isolation, and the ancient atmosphere. Tassili Niger was referred to as the Green Sahara in the past and continues to attract attention from archaeologists, geologists, and UFO researchers. Sodilo Hills is an ancient rocky hill complex located in the arid northwest region of Botswana, recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site for its archaeological, spiritual, and artistic value. This place is famous for having over 4,500 rock paintings that span tens of thousands of years, believed to be created by ancient San people. Sodilo is not only seen as an open-air museum, but also regarded as sacred land. Locals believe it is the origin place of humanity. The landscape here makes a strong impression, as bare rock peaks rise suddenly from the flat land, with cliffs reaching over 1,300 feet above the cracked plains. Sunlight hits the rock art and causes colors to shift throughout the day, making the images appear to move. Sodilo, not only an archaeological site, but also a place where science, belief, and mystery meet. Salonga National Park is the largest national park in Africa and the biggest protected rainforest on the continent. Located deep in the Congo River basin, the area is almost inaccessible by road and mainly reached by river. It is one of the few places left with untouched primary rainforest, completely uninvaded by human activity. Salonga is globally known as the home of extremely rare and endangered species like bonobos, forest elephants, and the Congo peacock, all with unique biological traits found nowhere else. The landscape here is purely wild, with dark, dense forests, winding underground rivers, and thick fog stretching for miles. In some areas, the humidity is so high that sunlight cannot pass through the canopy, creating a daytime-night forest. Erta Ale is one of the oldest and most dangerous active volcanoes in the world, located in one of the hottest and driest regions on Earth. It is famous for having a persistent lava lake, an extremely rare geological phenomenon found in only a few places on the planet. This is one of the few volcanoes where people can witness bubbling lava flowing almost continuously for decades. The landscape at Erta Ale is highly unusual, with black lava flows twisting like webs, cracked ground crusts, and sulfur smoke rising from secondary vents. Erta Ale is not just a geological destination, but a symbol of the raw primal force deep within the earth. Luango National Park is one of the most untouched and unique national parks in Africa, the only place on Earth where elephants, lions, and hippos walk along ocean beaches. It is nicknamed the Coastal Serengeti due to its incredible biodiversity, blending rainforests, swamps, rivers, grasslands, and long deserted coastlines. The landscape at Luango forms a primeval natural world untouched by humans, where ocean waves crash onto white sand beside the footprints of wild animals. Its rarity and wonder lie in seeing whales and dolphins offshore, while leopards, buffaloes, and chimpanzees roam freely on land. The feeling here is a mixture between the Amazon rainforest and East Africa's wildlife, all wrapped in one coastal setting. Luango is where the boundary between forest and sea completely blurs, creating an ecosystem that is almost impossible to replicate. Woolly Waterfall is the highest in West Africa, with water falling from about 260 feet, creating a rare and powerful view. The waterfall is in a cool rainforest, surrounded by steep cliffs and fresh green plants, growing all year long. What makes it special is that the water keeps flowing even in dry seasons, fed by underground springs deep in the mountain. Around the falls live hundreds of birds and bats, creating echoing natural sounds that last all day and night. When sunlight passes through the water, small rainbows appear as a good sign in a majestic and peaceful setting. Comoé National Park is the largest national park in West Africa and a UNESCO World Heritage Site recognized for its rare biodiversity. It stands out for the unusual transition between moist forest, dry savanna, and flooded grasslands, all existing together in one single area. It is one of the few reserves where primates and savanna species like antelopes, buffaloes, and elephants naturally live side by side. This makes the park feel both majestic and surreal, a raw and challenging environment that seems untouched by modern life. Samburu National Reserve is a unique wildlife sanctuary in northern Kenya, known for its rare animal species and enchanting semi-arid landscapes. It is home to species only found in the north, such as the Grevy's zebra, long-necked Gerenuk antelope, and the blue Somali ostrich. Samburu's uniqueness lies not only in its biodiversity, but also in its scenery of rocky hills, dry grasslands, thorny bushes, all forming a wild, ancient, and vibrant backdrop. Unlike the lush green plains of the south, Samburu has a rugged, sinewy beauty of drylands that still pulse with energy. High temperatures, strong sunlight, and clear blue skies throughout the day create a harsh yet captivating environment. It is also one of the last places preserving the heritage of indigenous nomadic culture, making a visit here not just a tour, but a return to ancient rhythms of life. Chingi de Bemaraha National Park is one of the most unique and inaccessible natural heritage sites in the world, recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. It is famous for its razor-sharp limestone formations called tsingi, forming a natural stone maze that stretches for hundreds of miles. The spire-like rocks, sharp edges, deep crevices, and vertical cliffs create a landscape unlike any other on Earth. The scenery in Tsingi is not only striking because of its harshness, but also because life survives in seemingly impossible conditions. The terrain is so sharp that people must use ropes and hanging bridges to move through the area. Tsingi is more than a national park. It is a stone fortress where nature has built a completely isolated and bizarre world, as if it does not belong to this planet. Nyika National Park is the largest national park in Malawi and one of the most unique ecological regions in southern Africa. What makes this place stand out is not arid land or dense jungle, but vast highland grasslands with drifting mist, deciduous forests, rolling hills, and seasonal wildflower carpets. The vegetation here looks more European than tropical, making many first-time visitors feel like they've stepped into a misplaced world. This area is home to many rare and endemic species, including leopards, antelopes, and zebras that live at unusually high altitudes. Though remote, Nyika holds a quiet, deep atmosphere, one that feels peaceful yet filled with mysteries still beyond scientific explanation. Ouzoud Falls is the tallest and most majestic waterfall in Morocco, standing at about 360 feet, creating a spectacular scene in a semi-desert landscape. Water cascades down multiple layers of red rock, spraying cool mist into the air and forming natural rainbows almost all day long. What makes this waterfall special is that it acts as a green oasis surrounded by dry land, with olive groves, deep gorges, and untouched wildlife. The scenery here is unusual due to the sharp contrast between the powerful water flow and the scorched surroundings. On sunny days, light shines through the falling water, creating strange flickers and reflections like a moving sheet of glass. Ouzoud is not only a natural destination, but also a place that holds elements science still struggles to explain. Tarkwa Bay is a quiet coastal bay separated from the noise of the city, known for its clear waters, soft sand, and calm waves all year round. Unlike many other beaches in West Africa, Tarkwa Bay feels like a silent buffer between the ocean and the mainland. The bay is beloved for its harmony between marine nature and an old-world atmosphere with coral reefs, long rows of palm trees, and rich sea life. The scenery here is both peaceful and mysterious. The water sometimes glows silver under the moon. Light mist appears suddenly at dawn. Tarkwa Bay is not just a relaxing place, but a space filled with mystery, where nature and unexplained phenomena constantly stir curiosity and wonder. Lake Retba is known for its rare pink color, caused by halophile bacteria in salty water and strong sunlight. The watercolor changes from light pink to purple depending on the weather and time of day, creating a dreamlike view. The salt concentration is very high, going over 40%, making the water able to float a human body easily. Local people harvest salt by hand, forming a unique working scene that supports the economy for many generations. The lake once marked the finish line of the famous Paris-Dakar rally, making it well known around the world. A local legend says the lake reflects the spirit's emotions through its watercolor, adding mystery to its sacred image. Bangweulu Swamps is a vast, untouched wetland where water and sky seem to become one. It covers around 500-800 square miles, which is bigger than many small countries in Europe. One of the most unique things here is the shoebill bird, which looks like a dinosaur and stands nearly 5 feet tall with a shoe-shaped beak. Local people live closely with the water, using boats to move around, fishing, and building floating houses. The night brings strange sounds and old legends about spirits, making the place feel both mysterious and magical. The Okavango Delta is one of the largest inland wetlands in the world, covering about 5,800 square miles. It lies right in the middle of a dry desert. The river that flows here never reaches the sea, but disappears into the hot sand or evaporates in the sun. In the dry season, when most lands turn brown, this place becomes alive thanks to floodwaters coming from hundreds of miles away. The beautiful view shows thousands of small rivers, swamps, floating islands, and grasslands. This is one of the few places where the ecosystem stays wild and untouched by humans. Okavango is not just a wild paradise, but a sign of how nature can adapt and heal. Blue Nile Falls is one of the most powerful and mysterious waterfalls in Africa, where water drops from a height of about 130 feet. During the rainy season, the width of the waterfall can grow to more than 1,600 feet. Thick mist rises into the air, making rainbows appear all year and keeping the nearby forest fresh and alive. In the dry season, the water slows down, and old rocks and green moss appear, showing a quiet, hidden beauty. For local people, the waterfall is not just nature, but a spiritual home where nature speaks through sound, light, and mist. Mole National Park is the largest natural reserve in Ghana, covering around 1,800 square miles, with savannas, woodlands, and riverine forests. It is home to over 90 species of mammals, with African elephants and antelopes being the most iconic animals. A special feature of the park is that it allows visitors to join walking safaris with guides to explore its ecosystem. A cliff about 820 feet high offers panoramic views and was once used as a hiding place in historical times. A mysterious story about a sacred stone that could not be moved adds a spiritual layer to the place. Manda Toto Island is a small island off the coast of Kenya, known for its clear blue waters and vibrant coral reefs. The marine ecosystem here is rich with tropical fish, seabirds, and sea creatures that can be seen easily when the tide goes down. A strong tidal change happens twice each day, exposing rocky reefs and sandy pools full of marine life. The island remains untouched by mass tourism and has no modern accommodations or buildings. Most travelers leave feeling closer to nature and more aware of the need to protect the ocean and the natural world. Nosy Aranja stands out with a white sandbar nearly 1 mile long that connects two parts of the island, only visible during low tide. Visitors can walk across the ocean without a boat, which is a very rare experience in the world. The surrounding water is so clear that people can see fish swimming at about 30 feet deep with just their eyes. It is an important nesting area for sea turtles, with dozens coming ashore each year to lay eggs. The coral reefs around the island are still untouched and home to hundreds of rare marine species. During sunset, The sky above the island turns orange, purple, and blue in rare combinations, creating a stunning visual memory. Liwonde National Park was established in 1973 and covers about 211 square miles, located along the largest river in Malawi, creating a mix of Mopane forest, savanna, and wetlands. It is home to rare animals like African elephants, black rhinos, lions, leopards, and more than 400 species of birds. A special feature is the river safari, where visitors can easily see hippos, crocodiles, and herds of elephants along the water. In 2017, the park made headlines by reintroducing cheetahs after more than 20 years of absence. Since 2015, the park has been managed by African Parks and became a success in conservation, including moving over 500 elephants to protect nature. Toubkal National Park is the most famous national park in Morocco, with Mount Toubkal reaching about 1,671 feet, the highest point in North Africa. The landscape mixes rocky mountains, deep valleys, and green forests, creating a majestic and wild setting. A special natural feature is how the environment changes by altitude. Within a few miles, you go from green trees to snowy peaks. The park is home to wild animals like mountain goats, lynxes, eagles, and rare plant species. It is also tied to the culture and history of Berber people, with ancient rituals, folk stories, and a life close to nature. Besides attracting climbers, the peak is seen as a sacred place with deep spiritual meaning. Bazaruto Archipelago is a group of islands off the southern coast of Mozambique, known for its untouched beauty and rare marine ecosystem. It is one of the most important marine reserves in Africa, with clear blue waters, long white sandy beaches, and natural dunes rising from the sea. The landscape here feels surreal, with watercolors that change with the weather and coral reefs spreading across wide areas. Bazaruto is also special for strange natural events, like sea fog appearing suddenly at dawn or waters changing color with seasonal winds. The mix of unusual nature and mysterious biological features makes this archipelago one of the seas described as a mirage oasis in the ocean. Tweefelfontein is a dry region in northern Namibia, famous for thousands of ancient rock engravings carved directly onto sandstone surfaces. It is one of the largest and most important archaeological sites in Africa and has been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The landscape is a mix of glowing red rocks under the sun and rough, dry terrain, creating an ancient and mysterious atmosphere. This area was once home to ancient hunter-gatherer communities who left behind carvings of animals, human footprints, and abstract symbols. The long-lasting condition and preservation of these rock engravings suggest it was an important spiritual and ritual center for early people. Besides its historical value, Tweefelfontein is also known for rare weather patterns and geological features found in this semi-desert region of Namibia. Hogsback is a mountain area in South Africa, known for its ancient forests, thick mist, and cool climate throughout the year. It sits at about 4,000 feet above sea level, creating perfect conditions for lush plant life and clean, fresh air. Many travelers come to Hogsback for its peaceful and remote feeling, with green, moss-covered forests and trees that are hundreds of years old. Hogsback is known for strange natural beauty and unpredictable weather, including rare snowfall during the winter season in South Africa. Mist appears suddenly and disappears quickly, making the landscape seem to shift and change from moment to moment. The rugged terrain, forest trails, and cold air make this place ideal for people who enjoy quiet nature, far from crowds and cities. Sipi Falls is one of the most striking waterfalls in Uganda, known for its impressive height and stunning natural scenery. It is a series of waterfalls in a highland area where water drops from about 330 feet, forming a loud white curtain in the wild landscape. The surrounding view includes steep rock cliffs, thick green vegetation, and wide views stretching to the plains below the mountains. Sipi Falls attracts visitors through the strong contrast between the rushing water and the peaceful setting of the mountains. Cool weather, high altitude, and high humidity create light mist and rainbows that often appear at the bottom of the falls. This is not only a great spot for nature lovers, but also a peaceful place with rare views found in few other parts of East Africa. Chobe National Park is one of the most famous national parks in Africa, located in northern Botswana, and home to one of the world's largest wild elephant populations. The park stands out for its high biodiversity, rich ecosystems, and vast, untouched wilderness. Chobe's landscape includes grasslands, thick forests, wetlands, and harsh, dry areas, creating perfect habitats for hundreds of animal species. What makes Chobe special is the sight of thousands of elephants moving in large herds, sometimes with hundreds together, walking along rivers or across plains. The sunset light in Chobe is considered one of Africa's most stunning photo moments, when everything turns bright golden. This is not only a perfect place for wildlife lovers, but also a destination that shows a deep connection between raw nature and ancient life. Simien Mountains National Park is one of the highest and most untouched mountain regions in Africa, located in northern Ethiopia. Recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, the park features steep slopes, cliffs thousands of feet tall, and deep valleys carved over time. Unlike most mountain ranges, Simien has a layered structure with sharp peaks, highland grasslands, and vertical drop-offs. The climate here shifts noticeably with elevation, giving each forest level and grass zone a unique appearance. Simien is also home to many rare animals, including the Gelada baboon, Walia ibex, and Ethiopian wolf, all found only in this mountain area. The mix of wild beauty, great height, and geographic isolation makes this one of Africa's most majestic and least visited landscapes. Tsitsikamma National Park is one of South Africa's most remarkable national parks, located along the southern coastline, known for its dramatic mix of forest, cliffs, and powerful ocean waves. It is one of the rare places where dense forest and open ocean meet directly, creating a unique ecosystem with extremely high biodiversity. The forest here is evergreen, filled with trees that are hundreds of years old, while the coastline features rocky ledges, caves, and channels that cut into the sea. Tsitsikamma impresses visitors with landscapes that constantly change, from misty, wet forests in the early morning to crashing waves against cliffs and trees growing near the edge. All these create a raw, intense, yet deeply captivating place where nature is felt through both sight and sound. Kitulo Plateau is a unique highland located about 1,600 feet above sea level, called the Garden of Eden of Africa, for its stunning wildflower bloom during the rainy season. It is the first national park in Africa, created mainly to protect plant life, especially orchids, wildflowers, and high-altitude species. The landscape is completely different from most other parts of Africa. Not jungle or desert, but colorful alpine grasslands stretching to the horizon. Kitulo makes a strong impression with its complete silence, fresh air, and cool climate throughout the year. In spring and summer, the whole plateau becomes a giant flower field with over 350 plant species blooming, many found nowhere else on Earth. This is a paradise for botanists, photographers, and anyone who loves the pure, bright beauty of nature untouched by human development. South Luangwa National Park is one of the most remarkable wild national parks in Africa, known for its rich variety of animals and untouched natural landscapes. The terrain includes rivers, grasslands, mopan woodlands, dry forests, and seasonal wetlands, creating an ecosystem that changes with rising and falling water levels. This park is known as the birthplace of walking safaris, a way to explore nature on foot, guided by local experts. The scenery in South Luangwa is most striking in the dry season, when the Luangwa River shrinks, exposing cracked earth where hippos crowd into shrinking pools and crocodiles lie along the hot ground. Its raw wilderness and the chance to see wildlife up close make this park a favorite for biologists, photographers, and field explorers.